Okay. So the last video might have seemed a little manic, and I think it's just because I was like, get it done, get it done, you gotta get it done. Ah! And so I got it done, and it's done, and now I can relax and tell you where I've been for the past several months. Because as you'll notice when you watch the episode 9 reaction, I edited it in January. It's been sitting on my computer since January. So I just decided to take a little bit of a break and enjoy my marriage and, job. And we've actually been working on the basement. That's been taking up a lot of our time because that's where my studio is going to be. So I don't have to be just recording in front of this lovely lipstick red couch. This is such a bachelor couch. I mean, this is left over from Chris's bachelor days. So it's going in the basement. So I was like wanting to wait and focus on building the studio. And then when the studio is done, then I can, record and all that stuff and have an actual place. But in the middle of working on the studio, something happened. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw it. I was in tears, just unconsolable. So I would say about 2 months ago, my husband woke up in the middle of the night. The dog was barking at the neighborhood cat. And he jumped out of bed and he collapsed to the floor and in absolute agony. And I had no idea what was going on. And it was absolutely terrifying. Nonverbal, shaking, could not stand, no position, felt even remotely okay type of pain. And this type of pain continued for a month. And we went to all sorts of doctors. We went to an urgent care. We went to the emergency room. We went to an orthopedist. He went to his general practitioner. And no one knew what it was. Everyone kept on saying, oh, it's probably a pulled muscle, or maybe it's a slipped disc. Let's get an MRI. I mean, no, it was none of those things. And they just kept on giving him more and more drugs. We were, at one point, he was on like 30 pills a day. He was on muscle relaxers. He was on opioids. He was on, I can't even remember all the pills, but I had a sheet of paper that had like all of his medications that he had to take, like, oh, it's 7, here's your medication. Oh, it's 8, here's your medication. Oh, it's 9, here's your medication. And he got like no sleep in turn I got no sleep because he would wake up every maybe 30, 45 minutes and would need ice, would need a heating pad. And there was just no end in sight and no one could give us an answer. And so anyway, when I posted to Instagram, it was that. It was because of, I was sent him to the emergency room and they gave him fentanyl, and it did nothing. At one point we moved in with his parents. I moved in with my in-laws because I needed help. Not even that I needed them to like help me care for him. It's more I just needed to know that I wasn't alone in helping him because it was awful. There were a lot of people thought it was a pulled muscle. They thought it was a slipped disc in his lumbar, then maybe thoracic spine. They thought we were thinking maybe he had multiple sclerosis, and this was like his first big episode. We had no idea. And I remember at the very beginning, like week 1, I was rubbing his back because that was one thing that gave him a little bit of relief. And I thought to myself, you know what? This is in the right place for shingles. But there wasn't a rash. And so I was thinking, it can't be that. Like, he's had it for like a week. The pain, you'd expect there to be some type of like eruption or skin lesion to erupt from it. For those of you who don't know what shingles is the reemergence of the chickenpox virus. So before the chickenpox vaccine, chickenpox was just a rite of passage. In fact, I don't know if anyone else did this, but I know in my community that I grew up in Indiana, if one kid got chickenpox, they would actually send all the kids to play with that one kid, and it's called a chickenpox party. I mean, I remember I went to one, and it was intended for everyone to get chickenpox at the same time, so that everyone could still play with each other, and you could all inoculate the kids really young, which really made a lot of sense because when you're younger, chickenpox isn't nearly as aggressive and severe as when you get it when you're older. So it made sense. But once the vaccine has come around, I used to say, I'm never going to give my kid the chickenpox vaccine because I had chickenpox. It was fine. Yeah, I'm totally giving my kid the chickenpox vaccine because of freaking shingles. And I'm terrified now of getting shingles, having watched my husband go through it. So he had a rare form of shingles where most of the time it does show up. It'll be like on your face. It's usually on one side. And the reason for that is because shingles is actually zoster. And I think it's called herpes zoster. And it is a virus. Yes, it is a herpes virus. What that means is that there's actually a whole class of them. If you've had mono, you've had a herpes virus. If you had chickenpox, you've had a herpes virus. In fact, everyone has pretty much had HHV6, I think. Maybe it's 5. I can't remember, but like 95% of us get it when we're like 3 or something. And then they think sometimes it reemerges when you're older as like a bunch of like it looks like you're covered in hickeys from like your neck to your hips. I know, because I got it. Anyway, but only like 0.3% of the population kind of gets a reemergence of that. Anyway, so, but also the most common herpes viruses that you know of are genital herpes and like cold sores. But most people have had some type of herpes virus in their life. And what it does is it's a virus that stays dormant in your nerve cells. And although I think mono is dormant somewhere else. I don't think it's the nerve cells. I'm not a doctor. I've not been to medical school. I just read a lot of articles. And by articles, I don't mean articles on WebMD. I mean articles on Google Scholar that are peer-reviewed, that are found in reputable journals. Anyway, so the herpes virus will stay dormant in your cells, and then it will erupt out. And so it'll usually burrow its way through this long tail of a nerve cell called an axon. It'll actually kind of work its way through your nerves to the skin and then erupt. And that's why it's so painful. It's actually wreaking havoc on your nerve cells as it moves towards the surface. And so that's why it never goes away entirely, because it's always lying dormant in your cells and can just erupt out. And so that's what shingles is it's your chickenpox virus that you got when you were a kid that's just laying dormant, waiting to erupt and ruin your life. And so that's what happened to Chris. Sometimes it's usually a rash will appear, and that's what I had waited. I expected there to be a rash. There were to be shingles, but occasionally it's called zoster synherpetae. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm terrible with Greek. Latin's more my thing. Although I guess technically zoster syneth might have some. It's definitely not classical Latin, I will tell you that. Anyway, so I was expecting the rash and it didn't appear, but it just means shingles without the rash, and that's not very common, and it's definitely not common in people who are 42 years old. And so that's what he had, and once we knew what it was, it made it better, but it was definitely terrifying beforehand, because we didn't know what it was, and it's just, all I knew is my husband was in pain. And no one could tell me if it would ever go away. So that's what happened for that was a month. And then he's been slowly recovering. He's at about 90% now, which is awesome. So we actually have gone back to working on the basement. So we've been putting up walls. So I'm pretty wicked with a tape measure and a miter saw and a level, and we're putting up studs. So anyway, so that's kind of yeah, that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. So I wanted to give those of you who follow me on Instagram an update on the fact my husband is alive and well, and we're doing really well. So yeah, kind of as a result of all that craziness, my sleep cycle has gotten out of whack, and I've had kind of a horrible bout of insomnia that I've been battling. So that's one reason why I'm dressed in my workout clothes, because I'm actually going to go for a run, and I really need to stop staring at a computer because I'm going to be going to bed in 2 hours, and I need to make sure that I can sleep. So anyway, I am going to be yeah, I'm gonna, I think, I know I've already watched like all the rest of The Promised Neverland. I just have to edit it and post it, so I'll get it to you as soon as possible. um and yeah, I'm really excited about Attack on Titan that's coming in. Yeah, so I will start that ASAP when I am able. All right, well, I hope you guys are having an awesome night, and talk to you later.